You are tuning in to be with me, Amy Engelmark, to learn the 3 keys to attain wealth and well-being. If you're new to me, well, I'll tell you a little bit more about me. My expertise is helping leaders who are career focused, entrepreneurs and business owners, healthcare leaders, how to experience more joy, more calmness, and greater levels of income without having to sacrifice family time, without having to sacrifice your own health, but being able to have the lifestyle that you want that's fulfilling while your wealth continues to grow. Super exciting. I love this topic. And my clients range from big organizations like the Comox Valley Credit Union and IG Wealth Management, Remax Ocean Pacific Realty, banks, investors, bakeries, breweries, lawyers, physicians, specialists, all the way to artistic people, artists, and coaches and consultants, and my goodness, there's many people that I've worked with and helped in these specific areas. Academics, and when I work with them, I become friends with them, and I write about them in my book. If you haven't seen my book, it's From Burnout to Bliss. It's right here. It's the 21-day plan to boost health, wealth, and happiness. Get yourself a copy and you might find yourself in the book. I've hidden privacy, made things private. So let's start today. Grab your notebook, if you have one, pen, because you'll want to be taking notes and applying what I'm teaching. Otherwise, it's just knowledge and it's a waste of your time to be on here with me today. So let's talk about the 3 keys to attaining wealth and well-being. Did you know? This is pretty crazy. Google searches for the word anxiety have increased by over 300% since 2004. That's a big deal. And the American Psychological Association did some research in 2021. And what they found was that 72% of people are dealing with financial stress most of the time. Financial stress is really troublesome for a lot of people, and it doesn't have to be. So today, as I share my story with you and some points that will help you shortcut your process, save you time, save you that stress, I want you to be thinking about this as an opportunity to test drive what it's like working with me. Because no matter where I'm showing up like I already work with you. And it's a real pleasure for me to be in your life. So thank you for taking this time for you and I to be together. The first step I want to share with you that will help you attain wealth and well-being, by the way, isn't this light fantastic? So beautiful and sunny all of a sudden. So it might fiddle with my lighting a bit. The first step to attain wealth and well-being is to be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others. Think about your fellow man or your girlfriends or the guys in your life as your siblings. And when you do that, you think, how could I help my family? If you are more obsessively preoccupied with the needs of family members, chosen or biological, that you could help, versus being obsessively preoccupied with money as your goal, money will naturally come to you. there's no way we can work in isolation and make money. If you did that, then what starts happening is you lose connection with humanity and you're not able to impact people's lives because they sense that you're really only in it for the money. So welcome, Kiki. Hi, nice to see you.
Hi, so happy to be here.
Yeah. So I'm just sharing my first point about being obsessively preoccupied with helping others. Instead of having your money, your goal, and your sights on money as your goal, if you switch it to being obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others and you treat them as family, maybe your chosen family, then what starts happening is money starts to flow to you. And what happens is people start to trust you more. Your credibility improves, your authority increases, your integrity deepens, and people sense that from you. They sense that you're in it for way more than the money, and the money is like icing on the cake. It's like, think about if you're keeping your eye on the goal of service, that service that naturally funds the lifestyle that you want to live, then it's the icing on the cake and it naturally flows out of relationship and it naturally flows out of connection. So that's the first point. Be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others. So make that your most powerful goal. Think about the last time that money came in from a client, from a customer, maybe from an organization you work with. When that happened, it was because of a relationship. It was because of conversations. It was because you served, you added value, you cared for someone. So keep that your focus, and you will experience way less stress, way less anxiety, way less frustration. When you think about it like this, if you're focused on how can I meet my money goal? How can I meet my financial goal? Versus what would be a fun and fulfilling way to help this people group? What does this person need right now that I keep hearing in conversations and the many people that I serve? It becomes more like a game that you can get invested in, and ideas will just flow like a waterfall to you. And you're getting ahead of society's needs because you're starting to dream about deeper ways to solve problems. And that is highly valuable to people who are being kept up at night because of stress. Awesome classes, by the way. So, second point is to take on the belief or the internal agreement that I can utterly transform myself. When you think about keeping your eyes on the goal, the financial goal, and of course the service before the money, you can't attain any higher financial goal unless you believe you can transform. So there was, what's her name? Okay, I was researching this woman recently, Susan Lister Locke, and she is from Rhode Island. And she grew up in a family that didn't encourage much diversity in females dreaming about options in the future. And so she thought, okay, well, I can start a family, I can get married. And so that became her dream. And she loved her family, she loved being married, but she wasn't feeling fulfilled. She started training as a real estate agent. And she liked it. It was going really well. Business was flourishing, but then the recession hit in 2008 and everything went downhill. At that time, she decided to add art classes and jewelry making into her life because she really needed to feed her creative outlet. And really interesting that you're listening and you chimed in today, Kiki. So what started happening was, as she was making the jewelry and taking these classes just for fun, people wanted to buy her jewelry. And so she started selling things privately and then slowly at a few little shops until she came to the point at age 69 that she pivoted and chose to believe that she could utterly transform herself, and now owns a storefront overlooking the ocean where she sells all of her fine jewelry and ships all over the world. So, no matter what your financial goal is, it's totally attainable, but it's not ever going to happen if you don't believe you can transform and if you don't approve of who you're becoming. So, this is a really powerful point. What I want you to do, whether you're live with me or whether you're watching this replay, is I want you to um, write down what is your financial goal, even by the end of November, or maybe you want to say by the end of 2022. I believe we have 64 more days left until the end of this year. So there's a lot that can happen over the next 60 days. And it's really exciting to think about what's possible financially for you that would impact your family and would impact your clients positively, your customers positively. Okay, there's a great ripple effect. When your life gets better, their lives get better financially as well. So think about that goal. Write down the number that comes to mind and a few things about your lifestyle that would improve because of you hitting that money goal. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that. Just free flow, write, don't edit. If you're not writing, I would suggest starting writing, because this is your opportunity to get my support, my coaching, and feedback today. And you may not make time for yourself to do this unless you're doing it right while you're watching and engaged in this training. I'd like you to wrap up the thought in about 10 seconds, and then you can continue later if you like. Let's continue. Remember that who you are today has absolutely nothing to do with who you choose to become, right? Like Susan provided an example for you today that anything is possible if you choose to make it possible. And a big part of making it possible is the foundation of belief in yourself and that it is possible to change. But first, so we believe, okay, I can change. And you might even want to say that I can and choose to change. And then we need to peel back the onion and look at what would stop me from changing, because our goals pull us forward. But then it's like we're running a race. And at the end of the race, there's this massive elastic band, and we're almost over the finish line. We've almost achieved that financial goal. And we hit the rubber band and it like whacks us backwards. What the heck? Why do you get thrown off course, right? Why do you get catapulted backwards sometimes away from that financial goal or whatever your goal is for health or joy or connection in your family? And what happens is the opposing goal to keep you safe. So if you don't approve of that vision of who future you looks like, because you have past conditioning and associations that are negative, you will never want to become her. You will never want to become him because you don't like that kind of person. So this is for you to explore, and something I explore with my private clients and in my group work is judgments and negative assumptions that you have, that maybe you are telling yourself without even knowing you're believing it, that blank will happen if I make that much money. I won't be able to have fun anymore. I won't have time for my family anymore. I won't have time for myself anymore, let alone my family. I'll become someone who's shallow. I will lose touch with my spiritual connection. Maybe I will be judged and I can't handle that. I've been criticized, I've been slandered before, and I won't want that to happen again. So watch the story you're telling yourself and make time. This is key. Make time to listen to the story you're telling yourself. Otherwise, you don't even know you're listening to it. It's like that sneaky voice or some music that's playing in the background of your kitchen that you didn't even know was on for the last year, and it's impacting you. So when you adopt this belief that I can transform myself, it's possible and I'm gonna do it. I won't become that. I'll become a better version of myself. When you choose to say that's possible for me, then you access blessings and like open doors that were always open for you, but you weren't willing to walk through them because of what you thought was going to be on the other side. But the beautiful thing is, when you have this perspective, you bring light with you into dark rooms that you were envisioning would be dark, because you're carrying hope and belief and courage. You're carrying faith into darkness, which disperses darkness very quickly, we know. So you adopt this belief and you get access to those blessings and opportunities and relationships that you didn't have access to before. And you can tell yourself, I'm willing to leave my comfort zone and I'm willing to pursue where my heart is being led. I'm going to cast off this false security, say, I'm okay with discomfort, doesn't have to scare me. And I'm going to embrace discomfort, maybe even, or at least accept it. And when you do that, you're saying, I'm ready to become the new me. I'm ready to do the work. And then you start developing character traits that are necessary to build that foundational new life of habits. And that takes dedication. It takes a new mindset. It takes persistence. And the more you act on the things that you once thought were hard, that are in alignment with that financial goal, you're keeping your eyes on that financial goal, then the easier it becomes. We know this from research, the easier it becomes to continue in alignment with those new habits instead of being, weaker and falling into the temptation of avoiding the very thing we know we need to do. So I'm so glad it's resonating for you. Reading these comments here. Yes, the part about staying safe. And yes, every time it's like in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he talks about how we don't need all of the votes. We don't need to make perfect decisions every day to start thinking of ourselves as a new person with new capabilities and believing in ourselves. We just need over 50% of the votes. So the more actions you take, it develops this new belief in yourself. So let's work at let's focus on transforming ourselves so that we believe in ourselves, we accept the new version of who we're becoming. And you can literally say that to yourself. I say that to myself on walks. I approve of this person that I'm becoming. And then I start stating who I'm becoming. She does this, she is this, she's viewed as this. Your words are very powerful, so use them to help you, not to hinder you and hold you back. Because you're telling a story about your life, and if you don't like your reality, don't continue to cement it in with your words. Number 3, remember that ambition and desire for more is a good thing. It's normal and it's human. If you weren't desiring more, what would happen? You'd likely regress. Yeah, you'd likely go backwards. Sometimes if we're lucky, we'll plateau and feel unfulfilled, purposeless, meaningless, not challenged, bored. But the opposite is also true, that when we grow, when we allow ourselves to want more, what happens is we're on this trajectory to be able to not only help more people, but then enjoy the fruit of our labor and be able to make more money. And it's just a natural result. It's like, if you think about gardening, you have to cultivate the soil. Maybe you use a lot of organic matter. And when you plant the seed, it just looks small. That's how service works. That's how relationship development works. Hi, Carrie. Nice to see you. Thanks for
Hi,
joining.
sorry I'm late.
That's okay. Welcome. So we're on point number 3, which is ambition and desire for more is a good thing. It's human, it's natural, and it's a good thing because it's a result of you saying, I'm not done growing yet, thank you very much, and I want to help still. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to sharpen your skills, in my belief, from my belief, God-given skills, to be able to help people in powerful ways, save them from so much stress and the problems that they're facing, make their lives easier, more enjoyable, improve the connections they have with their family, improve their lifestyle, help them take more time off, help them improve their team's efficiency, help them improve the happiness and the health of their whole entire organization, right? There's just so many possibilities. So you can't help more people if you don't think that ambition and desire for more wealth is a bad thing. It will hold you back from helping, because helping usually means you're being paid. And you're not really in business if you're always volunteering. That's a volunteer. It's a different thing. And it's great to be a volunteer. But if you're in business, which are the people that I work with, then we need to get paid. Yes, I've learned that the hard way too, Kristen. Okay, so if you think about it this way, you wouldn't be able to get your bike repaired if the guy or the gal who repairs your bike decided, I don't want to work anymore. I don't have ambition and I'm just not going to show up. Well, you might not have mechanical skills to be able to fix your car or your bike. You need those people, right? I personally like to wear clothing. What if the people who made clothes from all around the world stopped desiring more, decided they didn't need money, and they stopped making my clothing? Our economy would not function without desire for growth, without ambition. And this makes me think of a whole society. The person who milks the cows, the person who makes the shoes, the person who grows the food. If you tried to do all of that in a day, what's going to happen is you will have absolutely no quality of life, because you decided it was up to you to do everything, and you tried to be an expert at everything, and you tried to solve all the problems. So be ambitious, but be ambitious within your circle of influence, and hire other people to help you in the ways that are going to expedite your results, that are going to make your life joyful, prosperous, easier, give you the time you want with your family. because we have this one precious life, and holy is it ever precious. And am I ever thankful? And I hope you are for your life too. So let's review those 3 points again. 1, be obsessively preoccupied with helping other people. Make that your goal. Make service your goal over money, and you will have so much money. You will have never-ending amounts of wealth flowing to you if you believe that service comes first. Helping leads to growth. Value and generosity from the heart will naturally increase your bank account. Obviously, there's things that I teach that are tied to this and are crucial, which are confident sales conversations. So you never feel like you're having to sell, where you feel natural and authentic and you can connect with the person on the other side of the room here with me, or the other side of the lens, the video. But first things first, come from service. And second point, believe that you can transform yourself no matter what season you're in life, no matter what your job is or your role is or your business focus is. Many of my clients have started new arms of businesses, or they've started new branches. And one woman, for example, I think when I started working with her, somebody's just showed up outside. I think when I started working with her, she had about 3 locations for her business. And when we finished, I think she was at 5. She just emailed me and she's now at 7 branches. And she was really held back in this area of believing that she could have the level of respect that she was due as a business owner, because I'm slowing down because I'm trying to not make it very obvious who I'm talking about. So I'm going to change a few details. She was struggling to be able to communicate in a way with her team what she needed and what was acceptable, because her team was very close to her. Like, this one person was very close to her emotionally. And one session, I'm so blessed. She would come here. She would have to take a long drive to get to me, but she wanted to see me in person every time. And I loved it. And one time she told me, all this is going on. It's really negatively impacting the rest of the team because I'm not talking to this person about it. I'm avoiding the conversation. I don't know if she directly admitted to that, but I'm avoiding it. I'm procrastinating. But for the most part, I'm really happy. I thought, yeah, right. My first reaction was, I don't believe you. Obviously, I didn't say that, but my clients don't pay me to avoid conflict. They value my directness. They want my help to save them time, stress, save them money, and increase profit, right? So I said, with all respect, I wonder if you're not really happy, you're more so comfortable. You've just gotten comfortable with it, and you've accepted what you don't like. And she said, ouch, you're like a tiger.
Mhm.
And the point of this story is, she didn't believe she could have what she wants. She didn't believe she could transform her situation. She didn't believe she could change in the moment until she really saw the truth of what she was doing, and that she didn't like it. She didn't like what she was doing, that she was pretending to herself that things were okay when they really weren't. She wasn't being honest with herself, right? So she started believing more was possible. She could communicate in a way that was respectful and kind, but very direct and clear at the same time. She learned how to do that. And things started getting better inside that team and healthier. And there was a positive effect on the rest of the team, because that woman was being treated as a human. That other staff member was being treated as a human. And the leader who I worked with was able to be more respected and taken seriously because of how she portrayed herself and how she communicated. So the third point was ambition and desire for more is a good thing. Ambition and desire for more is human and natural, and just a sign you're not done growing yet. You're not done helping yet. So remember, during this whole time, keep your eye on the goal of service. Keep your eye on the goal of service and value and generosity before money, and your money will flow to you. I'm going to share quickly before we wrap up. My screen. But before I share my screen, is there any questions? And I might take these after, but feel free to unmute and ask them if any questions are coming up for you.
I don't really have a question so much as I feel like I'm at that point where I've started doing things and taking risks and getting to that point where sometimes I'm like, wait, I gotta pinch myself. I'm like, am I really doing this? Is this really happening?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those moments can be really scary. I think like what you talked about in terms of believing that you're worthy of those things, or the desire to really, I think I come from this place of like service is the goal, right? Like almost to an extreme where at the beginning I was like, let me give all of my service for free. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can charge for this and I should charge for it. And I think so much of what you talk about is so validating because I see it in my own journey. And I think the piece that I really love is this concept of spending some more time on focusing on the transformation of ourselves. So one of like, I put a couple of questions in here, but like, what is your actual desire for growth? What does that look like? Mm-hmm. And I think it's so easy to avoid that deep work when you build your business and you're just like, okay, I need more consultations on my calendar or more meet and greets or more networking. And oftentimes I find the really good ideas don't come from the tactical things. It comes from this deeper work. Yeah. And so I feel like every time I meet with you, I'm like, right, more deeper work. How do I insert more of that in my life? Because it's so true. And it's something that I think can be lonely as a business owner. Mm-hmm. And so I avoid it because I'd way rather talk to people online than, or in person than work by myself.
Do the work. Yeah. When you were saying, Kiki, what's the desire for growth, that internal, the personal work question, mm-hmm. Do you mean really giving yourself the time to visualize what is that juicy life, that fulfilling vision?
Yes. So kind of like when you painted the picture of Susan's little shop on the ocean, and she's selling her jewelry. Yeah. And that was kind of when I wrote that down, was just this concept of like, what is that vision? And it's easy to go, okay, well, my financial goal is X, or my number of clients goal is Y, right? But when you take the time to release all of the business stuff and you're just like, no, but what do I want? What does that look like? Right? Like I've started writing a manifesto and kind of writing through like, this is the life. This is the life. This is the everyday. This is what I'm working on. This is why people come to me. And that concept that you also talked about around like when you go outside and you're like, I accept or I approve of the person that I'm becoming. And these are all the things that I'm becoming. Like I just wrote those on October. Oh, I don't have a specific date, but in October. And it's so like, I spent time on the deep work and it was so valuable. And I oftentimes avoid the deep work because I just need to meet with more people, or I just need to post on LinkedIn, or I just need to do this tactical thing. Can
I give you a good analogy for that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I have a couple apple trees that are really mature in our yard. And for whatever reason, I've always loved pruning. It's a big job, but pruning apple trees and pruning rose bushes, two of my favorite things. And when you think of avoiding the deeper work, yes, because it is lonely, and it's not like, oh, I'm going to get paid because I do the deep work. I'm going to see, oh my goodness, wow, there's a new $5,000 payment because I did my deep work, right? Or whatever, 20 grand client just popped up and because I did the deep work today. When I think of the comparison of the pruning of the apple tree to say, have another conversation, do some more networking, build business with all the strategies, right? And not do the deep work. It's like pruning an apple tree and maybe watering it twice a year, you know, like
Totally.
or maybe more pertinent is like would be the rose bush, because the apple tree has been very established for years, but the rose bush needs more water, right? And we stop getting the fragrance that we want in our lives and the beauty and the payoff when we don't ever look at the roots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I think to even take that one step further, I love that analogy of the rose bush, the pruning of the, my grandma always had rose bushes and pruned the rose bushes. I hated that job. So I love that you love it. That was not my magic, but my grandma would love it. And I never understood when I was younger, she would prune them. And sometimes if they were newer rose bushes, they looked worse off after she pruned them than before she pruned them because they were bigger, but they may have had dead branches or dead, certain little things. She would know how to prune them so that they would actually grow further. They would grow more blooms.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't immediate. And I think that's the point that I oftentimes forget is I'm like, I'm doing all this deep work or I'm doing all these things, but it's not necessarily an immediate, you don't have this immediate blooming that happens on your rose bush where all of a sudden you've cut it and now it has these two new blooms. That takes time. And so I love that concept of doing the deep work and knowing that, and the watering, right? Like you don't just water a plant and then the next day it's like amazing. If you find that plant, send it my way because I love growing plants. But it takes time, right? And I think sometimes that time is where maybe for me in the past, when I'm waiting, it's like I'm doing all the right things, what's going on. When you least expect it, something comes up, it pops up and you're like, oh, a bloom, like I have this bloom in front of me. But if you can't, I think a lot of people before that bloom comes, they're like, is it coming? Is it working? Is it actually, are all the things, am I doing the right things? And I think then you're looking for external validation. You're not believing in yourself wholeheartedly, but you're looking for that external.
And also, like, I don't know if you've listened to any of Bob Proctor's teachings, and there's many people who teach about this, but we create from the input that we listen to, think, say, write. And it's very tempting to look at your external current reality as proof of what's possible versus creating, like putting new information in is going to create new reality and conditions in your life. It's not the other way around. It's a spiritual process. These are spiritual laws. You can't get around them. This is how people transform and change and create more joy and impact in society. We change from the inside out. So we need to develop strategies. And I teach these strategies of how do you develop that rock solid confidence before you see your external world shift? Because we don't know when it will, but we know that when we continue to do that deep work and we have faith that it will transpire and we let go of the timing because we can't control that, then we can have joy and we can have peace while we're doing the work. So let me move on just because of our timing. And I want to share with you what I'm picturing here for you. Can you all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is your current reality. And I, for some reason, can't change that. But I meant to say end of 2022. So just end of this year. And what I want you to start thinking of is, what is my ideal situation? And Kiki, I would suggest setting aside 10 minutes, Carrie, yourself as well, anyone else who's watching on Facebook or later, and map out, like, what kind of authority do I want to have in the world? How do I want people to see me? What is the larger impact that I'm fiery and passionate about, that I'm willing to take a stand for? And what would that look like ideally in my world? As well as your income goal, of course, because today's about attaining wealth and well-being. So what's that ideal goal? Include the lifestyle that you want, of course, because I always create a sales strategy around someone's ideal lifestyle. And then what would a good level look like? Not quite ideal and shiny and just bursting at the seams, but what would good look like? And down here, what would a poor version of your vision look like? Not super happy about it. And below, there's one more line. And this is like crisis. You don't want to go there. I'm going to leave you, because of timing today, to fill in those sections. But do take note. Take note that over time, drift will naturally happen if you just hope and think about change. Waiting, hoping, and thinking are very expensive, very costly.
Mhm.
And if we want to see changes in our lives, if you want to see that income grow, stay there, and continue to grow from multiple streams soon, like I'm talking in the next 1, 2, or 3 weeks even, then you need to make an intentional decision and start building up that faith muscle as you apply the practical, tangible strategies. You're doing the outer work in conjunction with the inner work. And my suggestion for your strategy to leave with today is to believe and make a decision. And to make a decision means you're cutting off from all other options. Think about it like a divorce. You're cutting off from that option. You're saying, I'm not going there. If you think about the picture of an octopus that's got its legs in many doors inside your body, you're shutting the doors, so it has to stay in one place. And you're going to stay in this place of belief about what's possible in that vision. So you're going to divorce from comfort. You're going to divorce from what you've been telling yourself is safe. And you're going to develop healthy, more porous boundaries that allow you to let the good opportunities in instead of hold yourself back from the good opportunities. So the second step is to develop a winning strategy. And your winning strategy might look different than mine. And my winning strategy might look different from one of my clients or from what I share with an audience. But that's good, because you can't be and shouldn't be trying to be like somebody else. I've tried that. It sucked. It created a lot of anxiety and stress for me. And I'm a star. I'm not meant to fit into a square box, and neither are you. So when you try and compare yourself to others, it just backfires. It's better that we develop an authentic way of showing up in the world that's fulfilling and leads to greater levels of income. Number 3, we can't have wisdom without execution. So execute. It's such a waste of your time if you showed up today for knowledge and insight and you're not going to do anything about it. You're not going to use it for anything. You're not going to apply it. I would highly recommend taking the time to choose one thing that you learned from today and applying it just in one tiny way. Because one thing that separates really successful and wealthy people from those who are not is they never include the word someday in their vocabulary, or they rarely include the word someday. They start today, and they just start small. Anyone who knows anything about racing knows that you first need to walk before you run. And it's sustainable that way. And you feel good about your actions that way. You create small wins, which create compound interest. It's beautiful. So I have, and I didn't time it this way, but it's really fun. I have a 1-day offer that expires this evening. If you know of anyone who would like to work with me, I just sent out an email this morning, and it's for people who are coaches, consultants, they're career focused leaders. They could be in academia. And what they want to do is they want my one-to-one help to speed up their process and shorten the learning curve to be able to create that sales strategy for the next 2.5 months until we're done this year, and have my support in the back end of things. And it's about it's going to be unique for each person. And it's going to be about 6 to 8 weeks of private work where you'll have 3 strategy calls with me. And it's going to be $2,000. And it's just for people who are serious. They know the value of my work. You can go check out the testimonials on my website. And I would absolutely love to partner with you to bring in more income. So please do share the message with people. I have space for 5 people, and it's just the first 5 people who respond to that email or who hear about this online or through you. So I really appreciate your time and showing up today, and loved seeing your faces. And I hope you got a lot from today's class.
Loved it. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to see you, and you're home.
Yeah, I'm home, and it's good to see both of you. I'm sorry I'm late. I got caught up in a long call with I had such a good morning with finishing up with a coachee that I've had for the last year, and just had a call with him and his boss, and it ran over 30 minutes, but so I'm sorry I'm late, but it's so good to see you.
Yeah, I'm going to stop recording.